Sutra 21 says, Tivra samveganam asannah. Those practitioners whose speed of efforts is fast, Tivra samvega, they attain stability of mind very soon. Even there is hierarchy. Mridu madhya adimatratvat tatopi visheshaha. Those whose fast speed is soft, they attain stability of mind soon. Those whose fast speed is of the middle size, they attain success in their effort sooner. Those whose speed of effort is of excellent, outstanding type, adhimatra, they attain success in their effort instantaneously, most instantaneously, soonest, I should say. So, mridu madhya adimatratvat tatopi visheshaha. Up to this sutra, Patanjali has been telling us only about abhyasa, effort, and vairagya. Abhyasa vairagya abhyam tan nirodha. That is to say, the cessation of the movements of mind can be accomplished by taking recourse to practice as well as detachment or renunciation of desires, worldly desires as well as heavenly desires. Now, Patanjali brings in Ishwar, God. That is why the Sankhya school as such is called Nirishwara Sankhya. But Yoga Sutra is called Seshwara Sankhya. That is, here Ishwara appears not as a creator, but as a model of liberation and as uninterrupted the pioneering preceptor of yoga. So it says, Ishvara pranidhanadva. So the first one was Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tan Nirodha, and now this sutra 23, tells us that cessation of the movements of mind can be accomplished by surrender to God, Ishvara Pranidhan. Also. So, this is the alternative to not as an alternative to this Abhyasa and Vairagya, but as supportive of Abhyasa and Vairagya, and as a guide, as a preceptor. Ishvara comes as a preceptor, as a guide, as a model also. In fact, all consciousnesses, whether it is individual consciousness or whatever nature of that consciousness could be, they are free from all blemishes. But the thing is that a practitioner, after by dint of his practice, he attains liberation. So he becomes one with Purusha. He also becomes Ishvara. But for Ishvara, there was never any blemish available in him. Of course, it is not available with other consciousnesses also, in other selves also. The self is sarvadhi sakshi bhutam. The self is always just udasina. And Sankhya Karika very clearly says that it is on account of the contact of the evolutes of Prakriti with consciousness. When the evolutes of Prakriti are joined with consciousness, they feel as if they are insentient, even though they feel that they are sentient, even though they are insentient. They are always insentient, but by virtue of their connection with consciousness, they become sentient, they become active. Once they are disconnected from consciousness, they are not at all functionary. They cannot work. And on the other hand, this Purusha, the consciousness, on account of its contact with the evolutes of Prakriti, and especially with Buddhi, which is very close to consciousness, it thinks, even though every action is committed by the three gunas, everything is conducted by the three gunas, but this consciousness, individual consciousness, feels that it is performer of an action, it is enjoyer of happiness, unhappiness, even though it has nothing to do with all that. Tasmat tat samyogat acetanam chetanavadiva lingam gunakartritvepi tatha karteva bhavatyudasinaha. Gita also tells us the same thing. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. So Ishvara Pranidhana is one of the tools for attaining the freedom from the bondage of the mind or the mental movements. unstable mind. So surrender to God is one of the best instruments for that. So who is God? God is just Purusha, but he is a special type of Purusha. He is just a Purusha, but a special Purusha. What is the distinct characteristic of Purusha, Ishvara? What is the distinct characteristic of Ishvara? That is stated in Sutra 24. Klesha, karma, vipaka, ashayaihi, aparamrishta, purusha vishesha, Ishvara. Ishvara is a special type of Purusha who is untouched by any of the kleshas, who is untouched by any type of karma. Karma, that is action that was done in the past, and vipaka of karma. Vipaka is fruits of action, and ashaya of action, the impressions carrying those fruits of action, or the style in which the action was performed, and the karma account continuing that fixed account of action for consumption. So Ishvara is totally, absolutely untouched by any one of them. In fact, it is stated in Yoga Sutra itself that karma shukla krishnam, karma ashuklam akrishnam yogina trividham itaresham. Of an accomplished yogi, even if he performs any action, his action is neither white nor black. His action is neither righteous nor unrighteous. He does not care for anything. He is not attached to that action. So something he does just as it comes to him, as he is required by society, by the country, by the globe, in the interest of the well-being of people, well-being of his family. Whatever he performs, he is not attached to it. So his actions are ashukla and akrishna. They are neither black nor white, so that they could have vipaka, that is consumption, and so that they could have ashaya, that is the impressions through which they could be carried through. But itaresham trividham karma. For others, the performance of action is of three types. One is shukla, that is white, that is giving good results, heavenly results. And the other is Krishna, that is hellish. One should have the bad results of that. And Shukla and Krishna, partly good, partly bad. So, Trividham Itaresham, for those who are not yogins, their action is of three types. But God is completely untouched by any of those actions. So, the action or the fruits of action or impressions about actions, none of them even touches God. Ishvara is untouched, aparamrishtaha. That is special type of Purusha. That is God. That is Ishvara. And kleshas have been counted. Kleshas are 5. And the root cause of all the kleshas is avidya, ignorance. Avidya and asmita, vanity, individual vanity. That is asmita. And raga, attachment, and dvesha, hatred, ill will. And abhinivesha, fear from death. So these are the 5 kleshas, the 5 types of miseries. Even though the Purusha is not affected by any of them, but it seems apparently he is affected because buddhi is affected and his action account is very much current and he it seems he is the enjoyer of all fruits of actions. But God is absolutely free from all of them. So he is free from the 5 kleshas, and of the 5 kleshas, ignorance is the klesha in chief. This is the root of all other miseries. So, klesha, karma, vipaka, asayaihi, aparamrishta, purusha vishesha, ishvara. So, Ishvara, God, who is all powerful, he is untouched, aparamrishta, by any of the 5 miseries, any of the actions, past actions, or their fruits, or the impressions, their impressions. He is free from all of them. He is not even touched by them. Neither in the past he was touched, nor he is touched now, nor he will ever be touched. Prakriti layas are going to be touched by all those kleshas, and those who are already liberated, those practitioners, they were earlier touched by kleshas, now they are free. But Ishvara is never touched by any of the kleshas or karma or their fruits or their impressions. So that's what it is. So then comes the next is Tatra Niratishayam Sarvagnya Bijam, and that Ishvara is omniscient, he is Sarvagya, he knows everything because he has no desires, nothing, everything, there is nothing higher than that, higher than, nothing is higher than Ishvara. So Niratishayam, there is nothing that excels Ishvara in power or in knowledge. And the items that are knowable are always present with him. So, Niratishayam Sarvagya Bijam. So, because there is nothing to excel Ishvara, so Ishvara is Sarvagya, omniscient. Because there is nothing, no interaction, no interruption, no obstacle, nothing of the kind. Every body is, as a matter of fact, every body is omniscient, but others have obstacles of various types because they have wishes. I should become this, I should. Everybody suffers from, everybody is a member of the 99 Club, so to say. Somebody, a king, he had everything, but he was suffering from tensions all the time. But he had a servant who was happy all the time. So the king inquired from his ministers, what is it that makes such and such person always happy? I have never seen him with a face that is sad. He is always smiling. So what is it that makes him always smile? So then that minister said, he is not a member of 99 Club. So what is this 99 Club? So he asked the king that you leave 99 dollars or rupees at his door. You leave it, and then you will see how he behaves. So you just throw it at the gate. So that was done, and then that gentleman thought that God had sent him something. So he counted it, it was 99, and he was serving the king, and he was getting a very poor salary. So up to that moment he had nothing, he was all contented. But when that 99 rupees came to him, he became worried about it, that how to make it 100. So he started working a little more, and then that joy that he was experiencing earlier, that joy was no longer visible on his face. Then the king realized that it is not the abundance of wealth that is the cause of happiness, but abundance of excellence, abundance of the feeling of excellence, that I have everything, I don't need anything from the world. That feeling, that is responsible for joy. So that's what it is. Tatra niratishayang sarvagya bijam. There is nothing that can excel God in any matter.